Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be, wherever you're tuning in to this live stream. Welcome. You're all very, very welcome to another episode of Pre-Match Carnage. This is the Pre-Match Carnage show to the Champions League second group game between Liverpool and Ajax of Amsterdam. In case I've said that wrong, I'm going to ask EyeJax himself in a minute in case I've said that. But first and foremost, people in the chat, you're very, very welcome. Do what Brush says. Brush says smash that like on the way in. That's the only way forward, guys. I'm telling you now, it's the only way forward. Alex says, big up EyeJax. Need to come back on United Views soon. Amazing, amazing. There you go. Sleeping Dragon says, like, subscribe, and comment, guys. Of course, people, you're all very, very welcome. We're here to talk about Champions League game week 2 after the debacle that was game week 1, especially from a Liverpool point of view. Of course, Ajax have a total different story and coming back from a total different place of confidence, whatever. But I've got two guys that, in fact, both are making their debut on my channel. First and foremost, Rumours, repping the Liverpool side of things. How you doing, my brother?
Well, thank you for having me, man. It's an honor to be here. I'm great, just ready to get into this game. You good? You good yourself?
I'm good. I wish I could say I'm good because of Liverpool. I can't right now, but I'm good in general life. You know, you count your blessings and you wake up every day and you look at your family, you look at everything around you and you think, yeah, man, it's all good. Anything on top is a bonus.
It's a bonus, yeah.
If your club plays well, it's a bonus. You know, that's the way I look at it. And someone who's very, very well and also making debut on my channel, and hopefully we'll have him again and again is EyeJax himself representing. Have I said it right? Ajax of Amsterdam, or is it just Ajax? Amsterdam. How do they say it?
It's like officially it's AFC, like Amsterdam Football Club Ajax. So, but a lot of us, it's just Ajax Amsterdam also. So it's both good.
Ajax Amsterdam, yeah. Because you know why, EyeJax, I'm asking, because I only learned recently that it's not Sporting Lisbon, the right way of saying it.
Lisboa?
No, I forgot. Oh my god, this is embarrassing. People in the chat remember when I had that brother from Sporting, he educated me how to say Sporting, the football club or something. Oh, my mind's gone blank. This is so mad. This is the sign of old age, people.
But
I start forgetting random things.
It's easy with us, Grizz. You can just say Ajax. That's just enough, you know.
There you go. Sporting Club de Portugal.
Oh yeah.
That's how you say it.
That's how you say it. They don't like you. Yeah. You have to say it properly, man. These people are proper over there. Of course, shout out Michael. Michael, who actually put me forward to you guys. So big up Michael every time. He came on the call-in show and was brilliant last Saturday. Guys, Champions League, man. Rums, I'm going to come to you first. Obviously, Liverpool coming on the back of. I think pretty much to a man would say one of the most embarrassing performances in the Jurgen Klopp tenure. I was just doing a stream with EyeJax on their channel, and I said, as a Liverpool fan, to me it was as worse or as bad as, or if not worse than the Spurs game at Wembley. Do you remember when they smashed us 4-1? Yeah. Have you got any worse performances that come to memory?
The only other one that comes to memory for me in the Klopp era would have been, makes me sick bringing it up, but the Aston Villa, remember the 7-2? Because we went into that game in good form, and we did have the injuries came after that. We actually had a very good, strong team that game. But that was embarrassing because to concede 7 in any game hurts, man. It hurts. But that's the only other one. But you're right, Grizz. That's up there, top 2, top 3 most. Klopp said it himself today, didn't he? It's his most embarrassing. So yeah, that's the only one I can think of that comes to the forefront.
You know, I thought I was being harsh because we've done a couple of post-match shows. And you know, when sometimes you say things on the screen and then maybe you sit back and you have about 24 hours to think and you think, did we go over the top? Did we overreact? Did we go too harsh on Liverpool? And I'm so happy that Jurgen Klopp came out today and reiterated those views and said it was the most embarrassing performance he can remember. That wasn't Liverpool. That wasn't us. Rums, what was the worst part of it for you? Which aspect? I know we could be here all night and EyeJax will just be sitting there, because if we talk about how many things are going with Liverpool, you know, I mean, we could be here all night. But what was the worst aspect of it for you?
For me,
positionally, tactically, player-wise, anything?
You could say it was a bit of everything, but the main thing for me was the basics. We just weren't even running. Listen, the fundamentals of the football, you need to be able to run, and we just weren't doing it. And a lot of what was so frustrating, Grizz, take no credit away from Napoli. They were excellent as well. But a lot of it came from our wrongdoings. That Gomez, you know what, Grizz, right? Even in the heights of when Khanage and Matip have been partnering Van Dijk, I still said Gomez is my favorite part. Remember when they brought us to the league and then they went like 18 league games without league, all of the lovely feats of Gomez and that. But that was the performance that made me think that ship may have sailed now. It may have sailed. But for me, it was a lot of our own mistakes, because Gomez getting caught on the ball 2-3 times. Milner, I'm not even going to blame Milner. I just think it's unfair that he's even starting a game, because handball in the first 10 minutes, getting dribbled past it giving away a penalty, it wasn't ideal. But for me, Grizz, there's a lot of things. Tactically, I think we could have set up better. The personnel, I think different personnel should have started that game. But I do understand why certain players played, because of European experience and whatnot. To go away to Napoli with the ultras, the atmosphere, it can be a daunting experience. So I understand why Klopp started that, but it was a bit of everything, Grizz. Tactically, just us gifting the ball time, just not doing the fundamentals right, to be fair. It was scoreline, obviously.
It was unrecognizable, wasn't it? That, you know, everything that you imagine, like I can imagine Ajax fans, and in fact, I'll ask you, EyeJax, I'll come straight to you and ask you, when you've got a big game against a big team in midweek, you always have an eye on their fixture, right, before they play you, in terms of what kind of lineup, in terms of what kind of form they're in. Be honest, you must have seen that game or highlights or clips of it and thought, wow, what is this? Or what was your reaction when you saw that?
You mean the Napoli-Liverpool game, right?
The Napoli-Liverpool game, yeah.
I was like, I didn't expect this, to be honest, because if I remember correctly, you guys came off a point loss in the competition right before, right? A draw, or?
Yeah, a draw against Everton, our derby, our rivals in the locality derby.
So I was expecting Liverpool to come off of a flyer, you know, like to go for it and to set things a little bit right. But I know traditionally, I think you guys playing at Napoli is quite difficult for you, right? You never seem to really do very well in their stadium. So this is no surprise that they could maybe get some points for you. But the comfortable way they did, you know, like 4-0 up at the beginning of the second half, that baffled me a bit, to be honest. And the poise that Napoli showed in their game, they were pressing, they were trying to recapture the ball all the time. They were on it, you know, and especially the difference between the mentality, the way they fought for every duel, besides compared to like what Liverpool showed, it was a big difference in my opinion. And usually Liverpool is on it, you know, and this for me made the difference in that match. And I think you guys maybe. It sounds weird, but luckily for you, it stayed at four goals, because it could have easily been a lot more, especially in that first half. So hopefully you guys can recover, but after the match of tomorrow, because I hope you still will be like a little bit shaky tomorrow. So exactly. after that match, you can win whatever you want, except in the arena, in Amsterdam, of course, because we want to keep the points there, but. I'm positive at the end of the group stage, Grizz, you guys will be in it again and will be battling for first or second. So it's just a bad start, in my opinion.
It's a very, very bad start. Gianni Uchi says, big up you guys from Chicago. I'm a Napoli fan, but do enjoy watching Liverpool. Hope you guys are the other team coming out of our group. Well, you know, Ajax will have something to say about that. But yeah, look, when opposition see that, Robs, when they see us play like that, every game, opposition coaches, players, fans, analysts of coaches must be looking at that and saying, seemingly, you don't even have to do a lot to get through this team. What's going on? Like, for example, Napoli played well. Napoli played very, very well. But if you analyze the goals, as you said, A, they were individual errors, or B, they were very basic passes from passes within their half. There wasn't much tick-tack involved. Okay, that second goal where the Trent was standing still with a basic 1-2, Anguissa scored. But if you look at the other goals, it's like slicing through us, and that is so not like us. There's no pressure on the ball. The energy levels are down. Surely we have to change that if we've got any chance against Ajax.
100%.
You know what it is, Grizz. In my opinion, your style of football, like in the glory days, in the days that everything goes right, it is very subtle. Because if one of your players is not doing his job, because you play very attacking football, you get exposed. So if they are not up to par with their mentality and with the way they chase down the ball and are fighting for it, you're just as good as your weakest links, and you get exposed by those errors or by the possibility that they get countered. You get countered on. So you could see with last seasons, if Liverpool plays well, everybody does their job. All 11 players know what to do, and they do not fail at their job. Also, they go for it 90 minutes, full force. Sometimes I'm just like, do they have a double tank? Like when the one is empty, they can find another one.
Reserve.
It was the problem at Napoli. You saw like with a few players, they were not performing, and then it just falls down.
Ajax, just to add on to what you said, I think you're spot on. It's like if one cog doesn't work, the whole thing breaks down. They all need to be singing off the same hymn sheet. That's what we pride ourselves on. That's what brought us to the glory days of winning the Premier, winning the Champions League. I 100% agree with that. But it's all, for me, two things have to change. This is a whole nother conversation, but personnel, we know we've suffered from injuries and they will slowly come back. I think, unfortunately for you, I feel like the players we missed will actually start. We'll get into lineups later, but I think we'll introduce a lot of players that have been injured will make their first start of the season against Ajax. But for me, also, there's no evidence that Klopp will do this, but I think a formation change would do us the world of good. I don't know whether it will come or not, but I feel like it will take us to the next level. You have to evolve at some point, and I just hope down the line Klopp can, even if it's not this game, I'm going forward. But yeah, what you said about everyone needs to be on the same hymn sheet, working together, you're spot on.
As we go into sort of this week's game, or tomorrow's game, I should say, Ajax, I want to start with, let's focus a little bit on your club. Obviously, we played each other a couple of years ago, and I've got the lineup here, the lineups that played in that game. So, and I believe this was, obviously, as the picture shows, this was the game, guys, people that don't remember in the chat, where Curtis Jones scored the winner. It was behind closed doors. Run us through that team. And I guess the outstanding point or note to make is, I believe possibly only three players from that team. Three, right? Exactly.
If I see it like this, only 3 of those players that played will start tomorrow, and those will be probably Blind, Alvarez, and Tadic. We do still have Klaassen, but he's not a starter at the moment. He's a bench player, so he's getting rotated in. But all other players, they are gone.
It's amazing turnaround of players, isn't it, EyeJax? Yeah. And we were speaking, Ajax is known for this in the recent times. Like, it doesn't bother you who comes, who goes. Mm. You still churn out talent after talent after talent. And if we look at that team, the last time you visited, like Neres was so highly thought of. We looked at Neres a lot. Tadic from the Southampton, from the Premier League. Can you confirm if he's still playing in this role that he started playing when he went there, in terms of this false 9, sometimes central, free role? Okay, go for it. Tell us.
He played in that season, on those seasons, he played as a false 9 a few times. Mm. But like last 2 seasons, he played as a left winger. This is also one of his favorite positions. But because we got Steven Bergwijn from Tottenham this season, he plays as a left winger, and Tadic is now starting as a right winger at the moment. So because of the Anthony left us, we are playing with Tadic on the right side now. So it's a different situation for him. But it's also nice because you have two players that can cut inside and they will be on their stronger foot, you know? So with him, with his ability to read the play and give assists, cutting inside with that left feet is an extra threat. So he had a little bit difficulties in the beginning of the season because before the last game against Heerenveen this weekend, he didn't score or give an assist yet. And usually he's like a machine, you know, he gives a crazy amount of goals and assists in all competitions since he joined Ajax. But he exploded last Saturday because he gave 3 assists in a 5-0 win. So I think he's getting more comfortable on that position now. But it's totally different position than he played before.
It's totally different position. It's a totally different team. I'm going to come back to your team in 1 second. But Roms, looking at our team, again, it possibly very, very different for us as well, but for different varying reasons. I mean, we know Wijnaldum and Mane have left the club, and Nico Williams. We know Robertson is injured. We know Jones is injured. We know Henderson's injured. So I guess from that lineup, it's Jota, Salah, 1, 2, 3, 4 players that will be playing for us as well. That's a bit surprising from my aspect, right?
And that was when, at this game against Ajax 2 years ago, we're speaking about, that's when we got the 2 devastating injuries to Gomez and that. So that's why you're seeing Fabinho out of position.
At centre-back.
Yeah. And I feel you agree, Grizz. It took a lot out of him that season, a lot out of him, in my opinion. But yeah, when you put it like that, that's four players that still remain at the club. And you could argue tomorrow night, Grizz, 3 of them start. It's crazy. It's a big turnaround, whether it's due to players leaving or injuries. And Keller, we love Keller. I say the best number 2 in the world.
Number 2.
We adore him. We adore him. But is he back from injury, Grizz?
He's out as well.
Oh my God. But yeah, that's crazy. That team, pretty much everyone's gone or they're injured.
But this is what I mean. So when we're comparing it to tomorrow's games, the tactics, the lineups will be totally different. And EyeJax, going back to you, one of the main reasons why it will be totally different is your new coach. Talk to us about your new coach. Tell us a bit more about him, because I don't know, Roms might be an expert. I am definitely not an expert. We know Ten Hag was a very successful coach with you guys. We know that Man United prized him away. We'll get into the players, but first give us a bit of insight, background to your coach, your new coach.
Yeah, not a lot of people know this, Grizz, but he was actually an assistant coach of Erik ten Hag in that successful season in 18-19, the Champions League run. Yeah. So he did quite well, and he's familiar with our style of play and with Ajax, because he was there a lot of times during those seasons. He knows the players. He trained with the players, so he's familiar with the facilities and stuff, and also with the style of play. After that, he left to Hoffenheim in Germany. He played there, and after that, he became a assistant coach of Ronald Koeman at Barcelona. So he was with him during his spell there. To leave for Club Brugge in Belgium last season. He came there during the half of the season, and they had a little bit of I think they were behind on the number 1 spot, but he went to become champions with them. So after that, he moved back to Ajax and now to be a head coach. So for a lot of people around the world that do not know his background, it may seem as a surprise because he's a less established name. But in all fairness, Erik ten Hag was not that big of an established name also before he came to us. But for us,
Just to interject, what is his name? Sorry?
Alfred Schreuder.
Cool. Yeah, I've never heard of him.
No, so for us, he's well known because he was with the team already during the spell of ten Hag. So He was actually one of my favorite coaches to come to succeed Ten Hag at our club.
Okay, so you wanted him.
Yeah, before he was named in the media and stuff, we did a video on our podcast, on WeTalk Ajax YouTube podcast, and I actually said I would love to see Schreuder at our club, and only Peter Bos was for me the number one, who went with Ajax to the UEFA Cup final against Manchester United, but he just re-signed a new contract at his current club, so. Yeah, I'm quite content with him coming to the club, but he's a different kind of manager than Ten Hag is. Ten Hag is a perfectionist. He wants to do everything his way, like all the little details. And Schreuder is a little bit more of a people's person, people's manager, and trying to gel that team together and make it one big collective, but in a different way than Ten Hag does. He also rotates more and is a little bit more adventurous. And maybe if you saw a few matches from Ajax side last weeks, you could see that we do even more positional switches within the game at the moment than we did under Ten Hag. So that makes us even more unpredictable. So I like what I see, but it's very difficult because we just saw that that formation from our last game that we met up. But if you compare our team from last season and your team from last season, and our current team now and your current team now, I think we lost at least 5 starters. So compared to last season, so that's quite difficult to get that to gel together.
Of course,
it's difficult in the early stage to make it a team already, and this is very impressive by Schreuder because he's the first coach since I think somewhere in the 90s. Late 90s to win 6 adjacent matches in the Eredivisie. We won 6 out of 6. And it says enough that it's more than 25 years that we did it last time. So it's pretty impressive.
Ajax, that's just to add on to that, this is what I think so impressive about Ajax. Because like Grizz alluded to earlier, you always seem to sell your big players every summer, but you just have this conveyor belt of talent that just, it's that never ending. You always are able just to still produce big players. And I've always respected Ajax because I think up there with maybe Chelsea's academy and Barca, you've got one of the best academies in the world, let alone Europe. So I've got so much respect for Ajax. There's always someone, it never seems to really phase you if you sell a big star because someone else is always coming through the ranks.
Yeah, I have to be honest though, Roms, we relied on our academy a lot more in the past. But because we did so well in Europe and because we made so much money also from transfers, we are able to now also buy big talent and great players that we couldn't before. So we have to give a big up to our scouting system also because we bought some great players again this season with Bessie from the Rangers for almost 25 million.
This is where I bring up your team from the last game you played. Hold on, let's try to make this a bit more clearer. Is that better, guys? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, talk us through this then. So basically, wow, as we said, even from last season, right? So last season, I could have named Mazraoui. Is that how you say his name? I could say Mazraoui from right back. I could have named you Lisandro Martinez, centre back. I could have named you Onana as your goalkeeper. I could have named you Gravenberch. I could have named you Sebastian Haller. I could have named you Anthony. That's just the top of my head. I could have named you.
Yeah.
Now you tell me, how did you guys replace them and go through some of these names that maybe we're not accustomed to?
Yeah, I will start with the goalkeeper. Remco Pasveer, he's been solid for us. We signed him last season. He's like a very old goalkeeper already. He did great at certain teams in the Eredivisie. He came from Vitesse, I believe. And he's already 37 or 38 years old, but he's been very solid for us. You maybe saw him against the Dortmund matchup last season, the way he kept Haaland from scoring like 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
He's been great for us. So very happy with him. Very calm goalkeeper, very composed. So he was already in our goal last season, but Onana played a few matches at the end of the season because we had to cope with some injuries with our goalkeepers. So he's one of the keepers that was already there. Jurriën Timber is still there, and Daily Blind is still playing at the left back position. But
I want to ask you.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one very
Go ahead.
Interesting question. Both of your centre backs wanted to leave, or were rumored to leave. Sorry, were rumored with big moves away. Which one did you want to sell out of the two, if you had to? And are you are you happy that Martinez went and Timber stayed, or would you prefer if Timbers went and Martinez stayed?
You know, this is such a difficult question, Grizz. But you already knew when you asked me. So I will try to answer honestly. I think it's better that Martinez left because Martinez was already longer at our club. He was very important for us. And you can see at Manchester United, he's a big role there already. Jurriën is a youth product, you know, a child of the club, and he's only there for 1.5 seasons at our club. So, and his level of play can still reach a very high level compared to what he's already done, you know. And Martinez maybe also still a little bit, but he was already established more than Timber is. So for me, I would have chose to keep Timber, although it doesn't need to say that Martinez is less of a player. But it's a youth product, and it's a child of the club. And I would love to see him like in our shirt for maybe 1 or 2 more years, but probably 1. So that would be my decision. But I could have lived for Martinez also because they're both terrific. And the 3 of them, you know, Martinez, Timber, and Alvarez in front of them, they were just terrific together last season. They were such a great team, keeping all of the other teams from scoring against us. So it's hard to lose one of those 3. It's very hard.
Absolutely.
Grizz, I've got one more question for EyeJax.
Yeah.
You must be very happy as an Ajax fan to also keep hold of Edson Alvarez, because wasn't Chelsea knocking on the door? I think the last week of the window, they were pushing for that move quite hard. And it did. I don't know if this is true, so I need you to confirm this to me. Didn't he try and force the move himself? Oh, so it is.
Yeah, it is true, but I think he did discuss this with the coach. So he only did it for 1 day that he didn't train. And Mohamed Kudus did it for 2 days, one which was allowed and the second not. So they both tried to force, or no, not force, but show the club that they really want them to discuss a move. But it was the last day of the transfer window. It was not discussable to just non-negotiable to let them go, because we could not lose 2 more players that are important for our team and do not have the time to replace them, because not a lot of people know our transfer window was 1 day shorter than yours. So it ended on the 31st of August, and you guys had until 1st of September. So we could not get anybody in to replace them anymore. So that's a big difference between the 2 leagues. And if we would have lost Edson Alvarez, he's so important for our team. We've been saying it at our podcast for already 2.5 years that we think he's great for the balance, and it's such an important player. But for a lot of the fan base, he was underestimated for a long time. And now he also starts to improve his play in other aspects, you know, like passing play, also making attacking contributions sometimes, besides all the dirty work he does for us defensively. But he is the most important player for our balance, because we like to play high ball possession, press high up the field, and he is the guy that reads the play when a counter comes or when he needs to drop back to the own goal, you know. So important.
He's very much wanted. Liverpool fans, I was speaking to EyeJax on his channel, and I was saying we were interested in Edson Alvarez as well, because when Shermani said no to us, he's one of the guys, along with another player who plays in the Dutch league, Sangare of PSV. We were looking for that mold of player, the DM, the defensive, the one who presses a lot, intercepts a lot. And Edson Alvarez is one of the best in Europe, and you can understand why Chelsea would want him. I guess Dusan Tadic we know about, Klaassen we know about, Bergwijn we know about. I want you to give us some insight on the 2 names that, well, Mohamed Kudus has come on the scene very much. Obviously speak on him, but the Kenneth Taylor, give us some insight on Kenneth Taylor and what kind of player he is.
You can see me smiling already, because like Ram said, you know, this is one of those youth products again. He is from our academy since a young age, and we cannot see him at the starting 11 now. But also Brian Brobby, who we got back from Red Bull Leipzig. He's a youth product also, and they are like best friends. They grew up together through the whole academy for like 10 years. And he is just that type of footballer that we love to see in Amsterdam. He has that running ability, he has that box-to-box ability, but also able to penetrate the box and be of a value within that 60-yard box. And he's flexible. He can pass a player. He plays that the combination play comfortably, and just another very exciting player from our academy to break through this season, because he actually declined going on a loan last season, second half of the season, because he wanted to prove himself. And at the end of the season, he finally got some starting places, due to circumstances, people being injured and stuff. And now this season, he's been pivotal for us. He's so important, and the creativity he brings, his ability to pass, is very, very important.
Can I just say, you two, when you're watching a team for the first time in a long time and you don't know a lot about a player, then you finally see them and you're like, wow. I watched your game against Rangers, 3-0 by halftime. You were excellent. Grizz, it was reminiscent of us. Klopp's like the season we got to the Champions League final against Madrid the first time, and we were just gung-ho. We were blitzing teams.
Roma, Man City, anyone.
We were blitzing teams. That's what Bayern were reminiscent of. That I was like, wow, they put Rangers away by half-time. And that was the one player I didn't know a lot about. And, he stood out for me. I was like, oh, who's Kenneth Taylor? He was everywhere. He was defending. He was retrieving it. He's a good ball carrier. He was just distributing. He looked at play, and I was like, you know what? Then I did a bit more research and saw he was an academy graduate. I said, you know what? Ajax have done it again. You're one of the best at producing talents.
EyeJax, would you say this formation or the way this team's set up in this page is similar to how you guys actually set up, or is there slight differences in terms of the formation? And basically what I'm asking you is, how would you expect you guys to be set up against us tomorrow?
I'm not expecting Davy Klaassen, to be honest. He was rotated into the team and got some playing minutes. I expect probably Berghuis on his position, so he will play the 10, I think. I expect the same back line, exactly this one, with Edson in front of it, and Taylor playing in that 8 position, between the attacking midfielder and between Edson, so a little bit more box to box. But I hope Mohamed Kudus will play 10 and not Berghuis and then Brobby as a striker. But I think he will probably play Kudus again as a striker because he did magnificent the last 2 matches, and probably Berghuis as a 10. This is what I predict. And you will see also Tadic and Berghuis switching it up a little bit also, because Tadic will also sometimes go to the 10 position and be of a value there. So don't expect Klaassen, and probably only the substitute Berghuis in it. This is what I think the coach would do. But I would put Kudus on 10 and Brobby as a striker. And
see, I'm surprised that they're willing to go so attacking at Anfield, Roms. If, like EyeJax is saying, they're going to play Edson Alvarez, who's the out-and-out ball winner. Kenneth Taylor, by the sounds of what you guys are saying, is more box-to-box, can cover the ground. Maybe it'll be similar to sort of more of a double pivot, maybe? As opposed to...
I got a question for EyeJax. I've got a lot of... I want to know kind of a level-headed opinion, because I've got a lot of Ghanaian friends and they wax lyrical about Kudus. He's going to go to the World Cup with them. He's actually, I think, their main man. They're looking at him to be the main man this World Cup. But you not having that affection to Ghana and whatnot, I want to actually have a proper opinion, because they're obviously going to speak highly of him because he's their compatriot. But how good has he actually been? Because I watched him at Rangers and he looked very good, but that's the only Ajax game I've watched this season. So has he been consistent? Has he played well? Or...
I do not know. I'm the right guy to ask, because I'm a big fan of Kudus since the beginning, and I think I'm on the right side with my judgment, because at our podcast at WeTalk Ajax, we all our members, we love him, same as we loved Alvarez, and we already saw his potential early on, while other fans were like, he's not good enough, just sell him. Same with Kudus, a lot of negativity around him. a lot of support also, but it's a split fan base, A lot of them say we do not like him. He does not. He has some flaws within his play. We rather see other players play there. We all love him because we think he's very versatile. He's a different kind of player than we have. He's the one that is able to pass a player on his own, make a run. He's very technical and doesn't lose the ball often. So he can play in those tight spaces, and he's very lethal within that 16-yard box. If he gets a chance, he's very good at finishing that ball. And you just have to see like the last matches he played, and also the other matches that he came in as a sub, he almost always scores. So his running ability and his ability he makes us more unpredictable. If he plays as a false 9, he's very hard to mark because he's everywhere. And with all the players switching positions, it makes us a very difficult opponent to play because you cannot man mark as easily as players that play in a static position. And he will be pivotal for us if we want to play the similar way as we did in the last game.
Roms, looking at that lineup and sort of obviously you're saying you watched them last game against Rangers. From that performance, I mean, obviously you've spoken about Kenneth Taylor really stood out for you. From a Liverpool point of view, where would you say we can sort of impose ourselves on this team? Because I'm surprised EyeJax says Klaassen won't play, because I would have thought experience, Premier League, but obviously the legs are not there anymore, maybe, right? So that's why he's saying. But if they're going to play this kind of Edson Alvarez and Kenneth Taylor as the two most sitting players, and then obviously we know Daley Blind hasn't got the legs to be overlapping left back. He's going to pretty much make it a 3 at the back. I'm assuming, how do you say his right back's name?
Divine Wrench.
He's the more attacking fullback, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a slow start this season, especially in the preseason and the first games. But when we brought in like a competitor from Mexico, Jorge Sanchez, he started playing very well and his potential started showing again. So he's also a youth product of Ajax from the academy, and he's a very promising player, and he's starting to perform better and better, and also clicking more with Tadic now because it's a whole new right side. We had Mazraoui with Anthony, and they were our best tandem in years together. So difficult to substitute both of those players. But he will be more of an attacking kind of player. Also, Daly will try to overlap, but he will usually try to give like a assist or a cross from the side, while Rens can penetrate the box a little bit more. So, but it will all end up like which kind of fullback will dominate the game, because if you will dominate on those sides, they will have to fall back a little bit more. So it all has to do with how both of our wingers cope with the fullbacks and vice versa. But expect Daly to be more of a passing kind of player, and Wrench more of a combining kind of player to try and penetrate.
Roms, as I was going to say, by the way, guys, there's nearly close to 300 of you in here. I know it's a random time, but the support is still massive. I don't normally do 7 o'clock streams, but as always, the support is humbling. Smash a like, if not for me, for Roms and for EyeJax, with a great insight. You know what I mean? It's much appreciated. But Roms, we've hyped up and we've bigged up the Ajax team, and rightly so. They're playing lovely football. They've won every single game. But I don't envisage us playing as bad as we did against Napoli. And I want to ask you, did you see any chinks in the armory of the Ajax that you saw, and what EyeJax has told us about, in terms of where can we penetrate them? For example, Timber, not the tallest. For example, Calvin Bassey, new club, new team. For example, Daley Blind, not the quickest. Mohamed Salah surely got to step up his game. Is there things that encourage you as well?
For me, there was one. If I had to identify a chink in their armor, one thing I noticed against Rangers, and I just alluded to it, Daley Blind's legs. I think our success will come down their right-hand side, because I do think we'll get into the starting 11s, but I do think Thiago will be introduced back into the fold. And we know Trent, Thiago, and Salah on that right we still know, forget what other fans say, on their day, they'll still cause havoc for anyone. And I feel, for me, Ryan Kent and I think it was Tillman, they were giving Blind problems at times. He dealt with them, he got the better of them, but sometimes in a foot race, they were getting the better of him. But Timber and I forgot the other centre back name, Bassi, were adequate cover for him. So it didn't really affect Ajax that much. But Grizz, for me, if there's an area of the field we can have a lot of success, it was that right-hand side, because other than that, they looked quite defensively sound. And I don't know, disrespect to Rangers. Rangers aren't as good as us, so we will cause them naturally more problems. But Ajax did look sound. But they're right back. I was looking at the game like, we've got these up next week, and I think this is where the game can be won for us. And you know what? Let's have it right. These are two European giants. I think combined, there's 10 Champions Leagues between the two sides. But I think Anfield, the 12th man, you know what a European night at Anfield is, Grizz. It's a different animal. So, but I think their right-hand side, we can definitely penetrate.
I think you guys are the only team that has more Champions League wins than us from the whole Premier League, right? Because you guys have 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have 4. We have 4. So yeah. I think you're the only team that has more than
100%.
Historically. Yeah.
100%.
Grizz, you know a worrying stat, just before you go quickly, a worrying stat I read for us, Ajax have only lost 2 of their last 25 away games.
Yes.
That was great. When I read that, I was like, whoa. So you're very far away from home. That stunned me.
We did better away from home than at home last seasons, but we didn't do bad at home. You know, like our last group stage last season, we were with, I believe, Sporting, Dortmund, and I don't remember the third one. I can't remember the third one by memory anymore. But we won all 6 of the games. We were like flawless in the group stage. So yeah, hopefully we can do it again this season, but it will be tough.
Wow. Look, going on to our team, Roms, if this is the predicted lineup, I just want to ask you if there's anything that you think will be different, and if not, do you think this is the correct lineup, and who are you expecting big things from?
For me, I pretty much agree with this bar 2. I would make 2 changes to this. We love him, and we know on his day, he's the best in his position. But for me, Grizz, it's hard right now, but Trent doesn't start for me. I would shift Gomez to that right back position, because the threat of, like EyeJax alluded to, Bergwijn, Kudus, Tadic, and I think it's Berghuis from PSV. That's how you pronounce it.
Berghuis. Berghuis from Feyenoord, a former Feyenoord player, and this season we got Bergwijn from Tottenham, a former PSV player. Yeah.
All 4 of them are interchangeable. None of them really hold position. They're so good. I alluded to it before, Grizz. They were like us 3-4 years ago, where everyone just interchanges that red arrow. You don't know what's going on. It's chaos. So I feel, but I think it's predominantly Kudus on the left. That would be on Trent's side, wouldn't it?
No, Bergwijn, I reckon. Bergwijn will play left.
Yeah.
Both very pacey. So for me, I think Gomez is more accustomed for the pace. And we know at the moment, I can only go off what I've seen, Trent he's not been running as much. And maybe if we were to introduce him maybe the way Trent impacts this game is, for me, coming off the bench. I would put Gomez right back. And this is another bold call, but I just want that Brazilian midfield. I would probably take Elliott out and introduce Artemelo. I think, again, he's used to the European occasion. I think Anfield will really get behind him. I think it will be the right time to make his, not forget first Champions League start for us, just his first start in general. But the other, Tsimikas, Matip, and Dye, and a front 3, that would be my front 3. I think football's of confidence, and I think if Nunes was to score today, it would give him the world of good. He's been under so much criticism and scrutiny recently. I agree with that front 3. But yeah, the 2 changes for me would be Elliott and Trent to come out, and Gomez and Artemelo to maybe be introduced. But pretty much that's the team I would go for.
Darwin Nunes has a bit of history, doesn't he, EyeJax, with you guys?
We had him in the pocket for 2 matches, and then a free kick on the side that wasn't a free kick, and we just got, it was just a cross from a free kick. One chance, he had it in. So it was hard to swallow because we were the dominant side for 2 fixtures, and we just got. It's one of the laws of football. You dominate, but you fail to score. But you had many chances, and then you just get that one chance, and they just.
We had a tie like that a couple of years ago, and it's still in my memory against Atletico Madrid Ajax.
Yeah,
we terrorized them. We had like no Simeone team has been treated like we treated them.
Yeah.
We treated them like they were amateurs. 15, 16 chances, crossbar, save after save after save. And then, boom, one mistake from that. I don't want to say his name even.
Yeah,
You know, that goalkeeper we had. We didn't have Allison. We didn't have Kelleher. We had another guy. I don't want to say his name.
Was it Arcadius?
He's gone to Newcastle. Let's just say he's Newcastle's.
He's awful. But look, it happens. These kind of things happen. These kind of games happen. That's why Nunes will have
extra motive.
See, I personally wouldn't be surprised if Diogo Jota starts tomorrow. Somewhere in that lineup. Somewhere. Because for me, I've spoken about it so many times this season. People are so sleeping and have forgotten about how crucial and important he is to us.
He's great.
He doesn't look pretty. He doesn't look like everyone's cup of tea, but he's there to do a job, and that job is to score goals. Do you know how many times, guys, this guy opens the scoring for us? You know how important that is as a player? And also important goals. He doesn't score the 3rd or the 4th goal. He scores the important one.
Which, you know what I love about him, right? A lot of our I'm guilty of this sometimes as well. When he's not scoring, sometimes I want more from him. And I have been.
That's right.
However, he's the type of player, Grizz, to possibly be quiet the majority of the game, and he just needs that one chance. When he gets that one chance, bang, he takes it. He's one. I remember there was a game evident of this. Remember in our injury-stricken season, Grizz, we played West Ham 2-1 at home. He didn't have the best of games. Out of the blue, I think he even got a brace that day. But that's just one example. But I'm so happy you brought that up, Grizz. A lot of our fans are forgetting one chance, Jota will take it. I think he's one of our better finishers. So, I actually forgot about him, Grizz. Thank you, because I did actually forget about it myself. If he's in for Nunes, I do think Salah and Diaz will keep their place. I wouldn't mind. I'm in a mind space where I wouldn't mind either or, because I did forget about him. But
I think if we were playing on the weekend, I think Diaz may have got rested and Jota may have started on the left. But the fact that we're not playing, I think he's going to keep Diaz going because then Diaz can have a rest for 2-3 weeks. From your perspective, EyeJax, which players are you looking for if you're an Ajax fan and thinking, this could be problematic for us? Or on the other side of things, which is your weakness? I think the weakness is obvious, but still we let you say it. But what is you as an Ajax fan thinking, this could be dangerous?
The team itself is dangerous. The Liverpool team, especially because you have to prove yourself now. It's in Anfield. You lost your first game away from home. You saw how you bounced back against Bournemouth, I believe, 9-0.
Yeah.
So it's not maybe the best time to meet your team at the moment. This is what frightens me most, because I think Klopp will rally the troops and make sure they are ready, whichever the 11 will play. But on the other hand, we're clicking at the moment. We're not the finished product yet, because we have to utilize and we have to gel a lot of new players together to one real solid squad, this season. So this will be our first big test. But personally, you can see that he will do maybe pretty well against us. I do not like Darwin Núñez as a player, not because of our history, but I just not like his type of player, and I do not think he's a Liverpool kind of player, compared to what you had in the past. So I would rather play, for example, a Jota, maybe in his position that is more versatile and more unpredictable than a Núñez. But on the other hand, we have not that tall of a centre back. Timber is not that tall. Fortunately, Bessie is quite taller than Martinez was last season. so we can cope with it a little bit better now. So from that perspective, I understand, but I would not choose him to start, to be honest. I would choose for a different striker, because I'm not the biggest fan of Nunez.
So are you saying, but so this means that you prefer, from the Ajax point of view, that Nunez is starting?
Yeah.
You wouldn't like if Jota was starting.
I'm not saying I'm not saying he won't do well, because he does have qualities and he can hurt us. We saw with Benfica last season, with that one chance with a header, he can hurt us that way. But I think he's less technical. He's less speed than the other player. And for the way Liverpool, the way I saw you play last seasons, I think a more versatile player that can play more combination kind of football compared with Diaz and Salah is more suitable. At least that's what I prefer. But you guys spent 100 million on him, which I think is a crazy amount of money. So you're probably going to play him, because you're not buying somebody for 100 million and then just bench him, So yeah, that's my take.
John Page sends in a super chat. He says Gomez looked confused last game. And 2, would Klopp ever play Bobby behind Nunez? Roms, would you do that? Or do you think Klopp would ever do that and play all 4? So look, at some point we need to rest Elliott, right? Yeah. He's a young kid. He's playing every single game. We now know Fabinho and Thiago are fit. There are only midfielders fit, really. I don't think Melo's even close to fitness. I'm going to be honest with you guys. He's not even close. He doesn't look match fit at all. Why not play the double pivot and then throw in Bobby behind the front 3 and go proper buck wild?
Exactly. Grizz, I know you have on your channel as well. We've been screaming for this about a week or 2 into the season, but there's no evidence. I agree with that. I honestly agree with that. And you need to remember, Grizz, that Bobby's primarily his position where we signed him from Hoffenheim was in the 10. So he's not like he's a novice to the position. He'll have to probably be a bit more industrial, because he'll be at 8. You have to do defending, not just attacking. But because you know what was the game where he got introduced as the 8 and he played well? Everton. Remember, he's come on and we introduced him in that 8 role. I thought it was amazing, because I know some fans didn't think he was as good as he could be, but I think he came on and we started creating even more chances. So to answer your the super chat, I would like to see Bobby behind Nunez. I think that would actually bring a bit more out of Nunez's games. Do I think we'll see it? I doubt it, but I would do that. I would do that. I think it would be a smart thing to do.
Guys, we've got to finish up in sort of a prediction of how the game's going to go. I think it's closer than, obviously, if we asked this question 3 weeks ago. Yeah. I'm going to come to our guest first, EyeJax.
Okay,
we're both smiling because we know what happened.
We already.
But I'm going to keep my mouth shut and not give anything away.
But you let me first. Thanks for that. I'm going to stick to my prediction that we spoke on earlier about on our channel, Grizz. I know maybe a lot of Liverpool fans will disagree with me, but I got this feeling, just a feeling, that we will win 1-3 away from home at Anfield. I have to back my team. We're in a flow at the moment. I just hope you're not in a flow. We'll continue for one more match, for Liverpool. I'm a little bit afraid that Thiago is back now, because I think he is very important for your team, and there will be a totally different midfield with him playing. But I'm just hoping that for me, it will all be decided by which team can play the possession play and will press hard and will not lose the ball a lot, because we both like to do this. We usually have a lot of ball possession, especially in the air.
You're used to it.
You guys are used to it. So it will be a midfield battle also. Which team will have the best balance and will keep the ball in play for the majority of the time. So it will also, the rest defense is also important. And I am confident that we can pull off an upset. So I will just back my team like always, 1-3, but I will be happy with the draw also. I will be very happy with the draw also.
My good friend Cecito, who I should be going to the game with tomorrow, says, EyeJax, it's not 100 million euro. And if we end up paying that, then he will have been a success. So basically, it's 80 million euro. And if we win the Champions League and the Premier League, then we pay the bonus, which will be 100 million euro, which is £85 million.
But is this only for this season, or is it for the
his
majority
contract.
of his contract? So if you win it one time, the Premier League or Champions League.
If we win the Champions League, if we win the Champions League or the Premier League in his contract, we have to pay the bonus, which is another 20 million euros.
But it's a one-time bonus, right? So either the Premier League or either the Champions League has to be won.
Absolutely.
Okay,
and
cool.
by God, we'd absolutely love that. We wouldn't care about the 20 million euro.
Exactly.
I swear. We wouldn't care. Roms, I know you've been a bit of a downer recently. A bit negative, not negative, but real. Like you speak on what you see. And it's made us negative. But tomorrow, what are you saying? What are you saying tomorrow? What are you saying tomorrow? No, but I'll say it. Say how it makes you feel. Say it.
I'm actually like EyeJax there. I'm going to give you detail, right? And I alluded to it. It's for them the worst time. I think Ajax would have probably preferred us to maybe win or drawn that game in Naples, not lose.
100%.
Because there's so many things for me that go in our favour. The introduction of Thiago and Matip, I think they will both start. It will be their first start of the season, Grizz, for the pair of them. Bar the Fulham game. Yeah, I think the Fulham girls, both their last start, they'll be their first start since that game, the pair of them. We're at Anfield. Nothing like a European night at Anfield. I can't even say heritage because both clubs have heritage in this competition, but we're angry. We need a reaction. And everyone knows kind of the idea of the Champions League group stage. When you're all 3 games at home, then anything else, kind of you go from that. But if you win your 3 games at home, you pretty much, historically, you go through. We're going to be angry. We're going to need a reaction. However, I think the narrative of us conceding first will remain the same. I do think they score first, Grizz. I do. But then I think that the 12th man in the cup, we have there's a metaphor that we use. The cup swallow the ball into the net. And I feel Ajax will take the lead quite early. I'm going to go within the first 10, 20 minutes. It will need to wake us up. And then we'll equalize just before half time. Then it'll be cagey. And then I think we get a late win. I don't think it will be easy, Grizz. And I think it will be quite cagey. But I think we win the game 2-1. Ajax score first, but we win the game 2-1.
That was actually my prediction. And if it happens the way you predicted it, I said to EyeJax, I said, but I don't want to go behind. Oh, my God. I don't know.
I have to say, Grizz, to counter what Roms is saying, I just stated it myself. It's a difficult time to face you guys because you want to prove something. But it is also difficult to face a team like Ajax now because I will explain why. We always play to our own strength. So you will have a lot of teams that go to Anfield and are like, oh, afraid. We're at Anfield. This is Liverpool. They're in a bad situation. Oh, this is going to be difficult. We always play to our own strength.
You believe in your principles.
We believe in our principles and we believe in our style of play. So if you guys are not up to speed and we are clicking, we are going to capitulate on it.
Absolutely.
So it isn't a team that is afraid to show their qualities and go for it, you know. Remember those games at Chelsea that we got screwed over by the referee? We were 4-0 up in their own stadium. Let that sink in a bit.
I was there. I was there. That was one of the best games I've been to as a neutral. You were excellent. And
we got screwed. We got screwed hard by the referee back then. And we still pulled off a 4-4 with 9 players on the field against 11.
Wow.
So,
because Grizz, you know what an extra incentive for us will be? Because I agree with Ajax. They're not going to show respect that other. Because you need to understand, like I said earlier, Ajax are one of the European giants. Like Ajax said, bar us, they've won it the most, more than anyone in our country. So they're going to be tough. They're not going to show us respect. But I just think another incentive, Grizz, it might sound small, but I think Klopp will transfer it to the players. We don't play for another 3 weeks now. This is actually our last game. I think we'll play again at the weekend. Klopp will say, just give the fans something to smile about for 3 weeks. Just get the fans in good stead. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's another motivating factor, but it's not going to... I know you say it, Grizz. It ain't easy. It's
not easy. But Roms, if we smell that blood, you know, if you guys are not up to speed and you're lacking 100%. In a certain area, then we're just going for it, you know? Yeah. So you have to be flawless. You have to be at a certain level.
Guys, 1 hour on the dot. If this pre-match carnage hasn't got you hyped up for the game, if my man Roms and EyeJax haven't got you excited for the game tomorrow, there's something wrong with you. Go doctors, get yourself checked out, eat a banana or an apple a day, something, you know what I mean? Fix up, because this has got me so excited. I just had a tea, like, honest to God, like I'm nervous, like listening to these guys. Like I'm listening to EyeJax, I'm thinking, oh yeah, he's right. And then Roms is coming back with the Anfield and the Sol. I'm thinking, yeah. And then EyeJax is saying, no, but if you're not on your game, I'm getting nervous again. Do you know, this has been the pre-match of pre-matches. There's 300 of you guys in here. There should be, technically, logically, rationally, 300 likes, but there's not even close. So smash the like on your way out. Go and make sure, follow EyeJax on all of his socials. They're in the description. Very knowledgeable team of lads. I just done a show on their channel. I don't know when that's coming out. When is that coming out?
We try to do it later on this evening. So I want to invite all the viewers to check out the channel WeTalk Ajax. We're an English podcast, so one of the few, or maybe the only one that does it in English. So we'd love to see you there. And I want to thank you, Grizz, for having me on the channel and appearing on ours. It's been a blast. You're a very knowledgeable guy, and it's always nice to talk football with people who love the game and know what they're talking about. Same goes for you, Roms. Nice to meet you. It was a blessing talking with you guys. So check out our channel, check out Grizz's channel, and smash that like button, because you're doing awesome content, man.
Absolutely appreciate that. Absolutely love that. Make sure, guys, all of their socials are in the description. Go and check them out. They're doing great work for Dutch football, and especially Ajax football. Of course, Roms has made his debut, but I'm hoping to get him more and more involved, trying to get him away from toxic spaces and all of that business. You know what I mean? Trying to get him on the right path. You know, he's got great knowledge and insight. Just maybe needs a bit of guidance. You know, and the Godfather's here to give him that guidance. But listen. I'm going to be there tomorrow, and I'm so happy that I've decided to go tomorrow, because you guys have built this nicely. I'm hoping the atmosphere is going to be cracking. It's going to be a Champions League night at Anfield under the floodlights. It's going to be our last game for 18 days. Let's go and put on a show, Red Men. Let's put Ajax to the sword, and then hopefully Ajax can qualify as well. But tomorrow, it's got to be a red day, man. People, this has been pre-match carnage. We take care. You take care. Over and out.